Hi, I'm the PC Expert Amateur, and this review is of Amazon's customer service. So, I've been a customer of Amazon for several years now, probably officially starting in 2017, if I remember correctly. And that was ongoing until just before Black Friday 2023 when I started boycotting. And that is related to the way Amazon tends to treat employees. Now, I will be fully transparent in that I have worked at worse places than Amazon. I have worked at places where managers are disrespectful, they are harsh, they yell, they treat people poorly, and I've left those places because I have no tolerance for management of that kind. Now, at the facility I work at, which is KCVG, we don't have managers really who deal with people like that. Now, there are managers who do make mistakes, as far as like letting their emotions get the best of them. But, we're all human. I do that too. So I can't really hold that against them. But generally, managers have been fairly well trained in keeping their cool and treating employees with a smile. And I'll follow up on that and let you know what I find out, kind of a response. So, unfortunately, there are significant problems, and thus, we at KCVG, as well as several other locations, are trying to form a union to ensure that we get fair treatment because, I'm going to speak from personal experience, Amazon tends to blow off things. I had a retaliation case that was blown off by them. I had an concern about censorship on the Voice of Amazon employees public forum that was censored. That were censored, I should say, and that was disregarded. I made sent an email directly to Andy Jassy, the CEO, and that was given to the executive escalations team, and they found nothing wrong. And so, yeah, it's been an ongoing problem, but that was why I stopped buying from Amazon, and it costs me a lot of money to do that because Amazon is one of the cheapest places to buy things, and to that point. The reason Amazon is so cheap is because they've gone into their own logistics through their supply chain hubs around the country, around the world, and they offer quite often free shipping if you're willing to wait a little bit longer, even if you don't have Prime. Additionally, they have really low prices, and part of that is they squeeze the vendors sometimes to get them to lower their prices. Also, vendors will choose to lower their prices to be competitive with other vendors, and it has a positive effect for customers in that you can find low prices. The downside of that would be that sometimes vendors may not get enough profit. Also, there are a lot of problems with scammers that get on Amazon, and not just Amazon, but Newegg, Walmart, I believe, has third-party vendors, and other companies have third-party vendors, and this is an industry-wide problem with any company that allows third-party vendors. But ultimately, it also squeezes out the competition. So by having the lowest prices, Amazon forces competitors, other companies, to either meet their prices or at least match prices when a customer says something. Like if you go to Micro Center and say, "Hey, Amazon's selling you for this much," Micro Center will match it. And there are some other companies that will do the same thing. Even online stores will match if you let them know. But there are other companies that can't afford to do that, and they get pushed out of business. Sometimes you can get better prices at a manufacturer's website, but then there's the shipping costs, which are quite high, and so it's actually cheaper to still go to Amazon. But because of what's going on at Amazon, and Amazon breaking labor laws, although they deny that, I have seen it firsthand, and Amazon violating other laws in a wide variety of areas. I just can't I can't give them my money anymore. And yes, again, I'm losing money. I'm bypassing good deals, but sometimes you have to stand up for what you believe in, or you fall for everything. And I know that some people can't afford to do it, and that's fine. I also go to charity stores, so that helps me to save a lot of money, because it's cheaper paying $5-10 for a pair of pants than it is to pay $50 for a pair of pants. And I'm helping charity at the same time. Anyways, so setting all that aside, just talking about Amazon's customer service experience, I'm going to talk first about the website, and then I'm going to talk about my experience with them, primarily on the phone, but also a little bit in chat. So, and also in the case of like returns and certain other situations. So let's start with the website. The website has remained essentially, in the terms of like the quality of search results, the filters that are available for searching, and how well they function, unchanged. Even though I, a few years back, complained to Amazon as a customer, and in 2022, I complained as an employee to a senior operations manager at my facility, and he said he would pass the message along. Now, it turns out this guy tends to be a liar, so I don't know if that message ever did get passed along. But I have tried on at least 2 different occasions as an employee and customer to get Amazon to improve the website. And aside from superficial things like what it looks like during peak and prime, in which it's even harder to search, and there's less information, I haven't seen any significant change. Like, for example, I can search for something and I can get thousands and thousands and thousands of hits, and then when I arrange it using, there are filters on the left-hand side of the screen that allow you to narrow things down in terms of what gets shown by brand, or by, say, size or something, or color or whatever. And then on the right-hand side, there's a drop-down where you can choose like by relevance, by popularity, by price. And what I've discovered is, like, for example, when I use highest to lowest price or lowest to highest price, what inevitably ends up happening is things disappear from the list. So I might go from a list of dozens of pages, and I click on price sorting, and suddenly the list decreases drastically. Also, when searching for items, sometimes I can't find an item by searching for it by its proper name, and if I use an abbreviation, I can find it. Sometimes I get a lot of bad hits, and there seems to be no way to refine the search in such a way that Amazon won't eliminate valid hits. The search engine is a mess. And the filters on the left-hand side, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not good, sometimes they cause problems too. So, and that was one of the big complaints I made to Amazon as an customer, and again as an employee, is that it really, the whole search thing doesn't work well. Sometimes you get a lot of very invalid hits, and the number of words you put into the search bar tends to increase the number of bad hits you get, and there often isn't a way to resolve that unless you can use abbreviations, and then you're still dealing with other problems there. So also, another aspect of frustration on Amazon's website is it can be, if you don't know the right words to type in, it can be difficult to get to the right part of the website in order to request a phone call or a chat. I find it difficult. There is a way to do it, and basically is you go to that, and then you say something else, and you say something else, and basically you just go with the most vague option, and eventually that gets you to the screen where you can choose between a phone call to you or a chat with somebody. Now, if you want a record of what has been said, I would definitely say that you should use chat. The only bad part about chat with many companies, and I'm not just talking about Amazon here, is the people doing the chat and as well as the emails often are overloaded by design with the number of customers they have to deal with. So they may be rotating between a group of customers that's on a rolling basis at all times. So they'll go to customer number 1 and they'll talk to them a little bit. Then they'll go to customer 2, talk to them a little bit, go to customer 3. They may only have, depending on how intelligent the leadership is, they may only have like 3 people, they may have 8 people, and there are places that have even more. And the problem that happens is these people are so rushed that they can't remember what they've asked. They can't remember the answers. They start asking things over and over again. And again, I'm not being specific to Amazon. I'm just saying that in general, this is the experience that I've noticed with chat. So on the bright side, you have a record of everything that's been said. On the bad side, they're dealing with too much, and it makes the quality of the service poorer. So I prefer to do phone calls. Now, in theory, anybody you talk to on the phone should be making notes about the conversation. The conversation should have, or the call should have been noted in the log. What was talked about should have been, in at least broad strokes, noted in the log. Any decisions of action or follow-up should have been noted in the log. All this stuff should happen. But oftentimes, especially on phone calls, this doesn't necessarily happen, depending on the agent. Now, when I was an agent, I made tons and tons of notes, and I used the log as a research tool to help me to understand what had already been done in order to make sure that I was giving the best possible service to the customers, because sometimes customers call back again and again and again and again, and they're not getting help. They're not getting appropriate responses because people won't take the time, because maybe there's like a bonus for getting through a certain number of calls in an hour or whatever. And so they're just focused on that bonus. Bonuses tend to cause people also to cheat, so they'll hang up on calls. So they'll pick up the call and they'll immediately hang it up, or they'll be sneaky and they'll hang it up while they're talking to you or something like that. But their goal is essentially, I want to get more calls done, so I'm willing to cut people off in one way or another in order to get more calls done, so I get a bigger bonus. And so I don't recommend customer service companies and tech companies use bonuses because of the abuse, unless they have a quality control team that is really on top of it. But otherwise, it's too risky. So in talking with customer service, the vast majority of the time, my experiences with him have been positive. There have been some who were not very on the ball, some of them who seemed a little bit unfamiliar. This is far worse however, for employees than it is for customers. Employees dealing with HR, for example, have horrible experiences on a daily basis. You can talk to many people around the world who work for Amazon, and vast majority, including in management, will complain about the human resources, which is the primary source of getting help for most HR issues, dropping the ball, opening and closing cases right away, opening a case, not doing anything, then eventually closing it. Everybody except for the case manager contacting you and not looking at the logs and not giving appropriate responses, and so on and so on and so on. So, but as a customer, I found that the vast majority of the time, they work hard to make me happy, and I would say that in that regard, okay, so let me just back up a second. In regards to the website, because of how frustratingly difficult it is to find something easily and to be able to compare easily, and the lack of tools that allow for comparisons and more detailed information, and that there are a lot of scammers on Amazon, and the problems with trying to get more information on products when vendors don't provide enough information, the feedback and questions and answers service that's available on Amazon often goes unanswered. I have dozens of questions on Amazon that never got answered by anybody, not other customers, because sometimes there aren't any other customers of that product, and not certainly by the seller. It is frustrating because the impression you get is that you're going to get a response from the seller based on the prompt for the question, but it actually isn't going to the seller, it's going to other customers. And since most customers haven't bought something, they won't answer, or they'll say, why are you asking this? I don't know anything about this. And it's not my fault, and it's not their fault. It's Amazon's fault for not having the programming done right. For a high-tech company, Amazon is remarkably low-tech. And my HR manager, who came from Walmart, said the same thing to me. So apparently Walmart is way ahead of Amazon in that respect, although they're not cheaper. So as far as the website is concerned, because of how difficult it is to navigate, how difficult it is to find things, how difficult it is to sort, the lack of tools and other resources that would make it easier for a customer, so there's less pain involved in using their website. I mean, Newegg is vastly better, not perfect, but vastly better. So I would give Amazon probably a 3.5. As far as the customer service on the phone, the vast majority of the time, again, my experiences have been quite positive. I have a history with Amazon of rarely returning things and buying a lot from Amazon, and so they can see this. Now, there are some people, they'll buy something, they'll use it, and they'll return it without cleaning it. Now, I mean all kinds of things, including underwear, adult toys, and it's just like, look, if you're going to buy something and use it and return it, at least have the decency and the kindness to return it in a clean state. Don't wipe your butt with it and send it back to Amazon and expect a refund. You're not going to get it, you dummy. And it's so disgusting. I mean, yeah. So when I have a return to make, Amazon almost never makes it difficult for me, and even a couple of times when I had waited too long, Amazon was willing to help me to replace or return the item because I have such a good reputation as a customer. In fact, because I also do a lot of reviews on Amazon, I have been invited to join the Vine program. But because I'm an employee, I can't, which really sucks because then I could get free stuff from Amazon, which would make me even happier and inclined to do more reviews. But, employees are customers, but we are not important. Yeah, before I rant on that. So as far as overall the experience with customer service, it's great, but there has been one thing in particular that really irked me, and that is better part of a year ago, I ordered a product from a company on Amazon called DA Solutions. It is sound dampening foam, and they make it sound like it's this amazing product. It's not. It's trash. It barely does any sound dampening whatsoever, and so problem number one is the quality of the product is poor. It doesn't do what they say it does. Problem number two is that all of the negative reviews of the product, no matter whether it's 1, 2, or 3 stars, any critical reviews are crossed out, not counted toward the product's review average. So the product has a 4.9 review, even though they're approximately 50% of the reviews are negative or neutral, because 3 is neutral, technically speaking. They have a 4.9 score for their product. They're the only product that they sell. It's a $40 product, at least. They sell it in different volumes. So I'm talking about like the 52-piece sound dampening panels. That's like a $40 product. And because all of the negative reviews get crossed out and there's a message saying Amazon takes full responsibility, even when it's a product defect. So customers think it's a great product if they don't look carefully at this fact, that there's a lot of stuff that's crossed out. And many of them that are crossed out should never have been crossed out because it wasn't any mistake of Amazon's. It's poor quality products. And so I complained about that. And Amazon said, we'll take care of that. And they did nothing. And that was last fall. This is now the beginning of February 2024. So they said they were going to deal with it. Also, I noticed that I wanted to put up a review criticizing the vendor in order to warn people about this because I couldn't do anything about the quality of the product. And the website was like, sorry, I'm going to redirect you to a completely different vendor that has nothing to do with it. And I reported that as well because what I'm seeing here is one of two things. Either Amazon is fraudulently protecting a foreign company that is defrauding their customers, Amazon's customers and their customers, or the company is hacking Amazon's website in order to, one, cross out all negative reviews and also to keep anybody from putting up a negative review of the seller. Now, as I said, when I tried to go to their review website, it would redirect to somebody else's. And now when I try to go to the I can't even find it anymore. All I can find is the product review site. I can't find a way to get back to it. Now, approximately a month ago, I was still able to get to that redirection process where I click on DA Solutions and it takes me to some other company. But recently that was removed, and now I can't put up feedback about DA Solutions. And even if I do, it gets crossed out with a message from Amazon. This item was fulfilled by Amazon, and we take responsibility for this fulfillment experience. The review says, is a 2-star review. It's not even a review. It says, are there stickers to attach the foam to the wall? My order didn't come with any stickers. That has nothing to do with Amazon. You see, this is a vacuum-packed product because the package would be like this long because there are 52 foam panels. So they vacuum pack it down to about, I believe it's about this size. So it's about a third of the actual size. And so there's no way for Amazon to have any control over that because the stickers would be inside of that vacuum packing. And there are none. Another customer asked about why the listing said there would be adhesive and there wasn't. So there are all these things that have nothing to do with it. And admittedly, there are some. Like there's a 1-star one saying, I never received my package, although my apartment is notorious for late packages. Why lie and say it's delivered? And they crossed that one out. So in my mind, I doubt that Amazon is shielding DA Solutions. And what I suspect is Amazon has been hacked. So I reported this right after I reported the problem with the product, and they said they'd take care of it. I sent proof to them, and nothing ever happened. And so a few days ago, I called up Amazon customer service again, and I talked to a very nice young man, and he was very patient, let me rant and rave. Well, not really rave. I was just kind of ranting about the problem, the fact that all this time, all these months have passed and it hasn't been fixed yet. Because DA Solutions is still there and their product is still there and all of those reviews are still crossed out. And there are 60 reviews and he told me 30 of them at the time were crossed out. And so he told me that he was going to report this. I sent copies of the, I sent a copy of the, also, I forgot to mention this. I got an email after posting a negative review of this product from the vendor saying that if you remove your negative review, we will either send you more of the same product or we'll send you a $50 gift voucher for Amazon. That is, by the terms of Amazon service, illegal. And when I first reported this to Amazon, the customer service agent said that definitely is illegal and we're going to take action on this. Nothing has been done. Even though I sent them copies of the emails, all of them, the exchange between myself and that person where I was very clever, I think, possibly, and and tried to flesh out that to confirm that they were actually offering me a bribe to remove my negative review, and that they were. And then when I talked to this guy the other day, I sent a copy of the original email where the guy offers me the bribe, and then I sent a screenshot of all the rest of it so that they could see all that stuff, and it's still there days later. Now, I don't know if like Amazon, like, there's a lot of bureaucracy in Amazon, so things move very slowly in terms of improving things, when things get improved at all. But I can tell you that at this time, nearly a week later, the problem has not been resolved. He told me they were going to remove DA Solutions and its foul product because of the violations of the terms of service, and it's still there. So in that regard, I've reported something fraudulent to them, actually multiple things that are fraudulent, and they have not taken action on that, which suggests they don't actually care. So, for a company that is so customer centric and cares so little about employees that they won't even give us free Prime because we're employees, and it would be nice. I mean, we work mandatory overtime the 2 weeks of Prime, where we have an extra hour a day, and we work 6 days a week. And then on peak, we work a month of overtime with an extra hour of time and 6 days a week. And so, we go home with a lot of extra money. But I'll tell you what, I did the 2 weeks of Prime, and I was exhausted halfway through it. I mean, I'm 57, but even younger people than me were very, very tired. And for older people like me, it was very hard. And fortunately for me, I was on full restrictions during all of peak, so I didn't have to go through that. But it is extremely challenging, and it was longer than the previous Prime and the previous peak. So it's hard. And if they expand it even further and then demand all this extra time from us, it's just, as a father, it's also not good for my family. So, but anyways, getting back to the customer experience. So as far as the customer service experience, with the exception of dealing with this problem, I would give them a 9. As far as returns, I would give them an 8. And here's why I would say 8. And that is because there have been one or two times, one that I can think of specifically, when things have kind of gone haywire. Now I can think of two with a return. So one time I returned a product, and they never confirmed that I returned it. And then after quite a while, they sent a message saying, if you don't return the product, we're going to take your money back, because they'd already refunded the money for the product that I sent back. And I had sent it back like the same day or the next day or something like that. And then they charged me again. And so I called up Amazon. I said, look, I sent the product in. Why are you guys charging me for it? If something's going on, it's your problem, not mine. I turned it in, and you guys know that because you have the receipt from UPS. And speaking of which, one of the things I like about Amazon for service is that the vast majority of the time, if there's a return, I get to do it for free. I don't even necessarily have to put the product into a package or anything like that. UPS sometimes can package it for me, label it for me, and everything without charging me, which is fantastic. But so in that particular case, once I finally called them up, the person did some research. Oh, yeah, it was received at CVG2, which is the return center. And so sorry about that, and they fixed it for me. And then another time, I had a product where it was a very inexpensive product, and there was a problem with it. It was defective. So I called up Amazon and said I wanted to return it, and the lady told me that, oh, by the way, it's really cheap, so you don't have to bother returning it. We are going to send you a replacement at no cost to you. And they did. And then after a couple of months, I guess it was, they charged me. And I was like, excuse me, what's going on here? So Apparently, that agent who was so kind didn't record that that was what the decision was. So I called him up and I explained what happened. And at that time, they were like, "Oh, okay, it's fine. Don't worry about it," and they refunded my money. And then there was another time where it was a similar situation to that, where I was told not to return a product, and then I had a little bit of problems with it. But still, overall, the vast majority of the time, it has been a pain-free process for me, and that's fantastic. So yeah, 8. Then as far as like dealing with um, the process of asking questions. Um, Again, my experience with that is this is something that it seems like they're sending this to the seller, but it's actually going to other customers who may or may not know anything about the product or may not have technical knowledge of the product. And usually I'm asking technical questions because that's what I'm after. I don't want to buy a product if I don't know the technical information, because that can be very important. Um, and so a lot of the times I don't get a response. And most of the time, even though I have sometimes received responses from the vendor to my question, the vast majority of vendors don't respond. So for that, because they're not kicking questions over to the vendor that they should and making sure the vendor responds, and because the most of the questions are, if responded to at all, are responded to by other customers who may or may not have the knowledge to answer, or maybe I had one who was rude, and so on and so forth. So for that, I'll give it a 5. And then I think that ultimately I can say that it's a very good experience dealing with Amazon, although I have heard from other people who have had bad experiences. But for me, except for the specific examples I've given you, it has worked out really well for me, and that's partially because I try to be a good customer. And I try not to abuse things. So if I make I've made mistakes sometimes on ordering the wrong thing, and they've been very gracious about it. I tell them, "Oops, I ordered the wrong product," and they're like, "Okay, send it back." And then they send it. I send it back, and I order what I actually wanted to get, and it's all good, and they don't make it a hassle. Whereas other companies would be like, "Well, yeah, you screwed up, so you got to pay." And and honestly, if it's my fault, it's my fault, and I should pay. But they have the ability to just eat the cost, and it doesn't really hurt them. And so that's really nice. And if it's a low cost item, they sometimes will say, just keep it, and you can throw it away or give it away or sell it or do whatever you want with it. And it's like, okay, thank you. That's very kind of you. Are you sure? And I will ask the agent when they say that to me, because I want to make sure they're not going to get into trouble. And they're like, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Now, if it's an expensive product, they will expect you to return it. And I'm not sure exactly where the line is drawn as far as like how much it would cost before they would tell you have to return it. But I would say it's a pretty low number, like maybe $10 or something like that. So overall, just an overall score for Amazon in general, taking into consideration returns, questions, customer service, the website. I guess I'll give them a 7. And if their website didn't suck so much that I have to waste a lot of time trying to find things on there, they make no effort to really, they haven't made an effort in years to improve that experience. And when they have big sales, there's no effort whatsoever to make that easy. So yeah, I can't give higher than a 7, which is pretty good, even still. But yeah, as an employee, very much unhappy with the way they treat us, and that's a whole nother video in and of itself, which maybe I'll delve into sometime in the near future if there is interest. But for now, that's all I have to say on the topic. So thank you so much for watching. And if you have any experiences of your own, positive or negative, would you please put them into the comments, because I think that it would be helpful for me and also for my viewers to know what kind of experiences people are having. And who knows, maybe it'll help. Maybe it'll help all of us. So thanks so much. And I hope that you have a wonderful day.